Well, anyway, thanks everybody for getting on. I think this is going to be really special for all of us. I've started a new campaign around the world talking about playspan versus lifespan. And so that's really the crux of what we're going to do. But I really wanted to start out at first because I know we're going to have some newcomers, and we're going to have some people here that I know that keeps asking us the same question, and that is, well, what about this supplement? What about this company? What about that? I mean, and so I've got to do a 10-minute review for everybody to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to dietary supplements in the commercial market. We're all practitioners here, so we should only use practitioner products. But I just want to kind of remind you of what's going on in the world today. It's not getting any better. It's actually getting worse. So I thought I'd start with that first and then talk about making it all good. So we never have to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly for our families and what we deliver for them, and of course, especially our families, and then of course our clients as well, because we treat them as family as well. And then Rob asked me to add to the other back side of this easier and faster weight loss, so supplements that are involved with that. I know you know the ones that we make, but I'll spend a little bit of time just talking about how those things can make a difference as far as keep getting clients motivated when they have trouble motivating themselves through weight loss. So let's go ahead and get started with our little review. Let's talk about the good. The good when it comes to dietary supplements is the reasoning behind it. No one discounts that, which is why almost all health professionals use dietary supplements and recommend them. They just never buy from the mass market. So integrating supplements that work equal faster results. And when it comes from a business standpoint, if we get faster results, it increases our overall revenue. And that's how we built all the fantastic brands that we've built. The brand separation for us has always been the fact that we deliver nutrition in our clubs. And of course, good supplementing is part of a healthy lifestyle. The goal is simple. There's a definite gap between what the body can use and what it gets. And if it doesn't get what it can actually use, it just down-regulates to that point. And you half-heartedly build bone, you half-heartedly build brain neurons, everything is just halfway done because you're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul. If it gets all it can, you can build a stronger body that can play longer. Not only speed results and help you stay lean, but play longer, which is pretty much the reason why virtually all health professionals and competitive athletes use and recommend supplements, with the caveat that I mentioned earlier, and that is not from consumer channels, only practitioner products, such as ours, which is why you don't find us consumer channels. One thing I wanted to remind you, every place you see a reference, and this is on your PowerPoint when you download it now, the full reference is there. This is a lecture that I actually do around the world, so whether it be a scientific community or whether it be a health club community, the scientific community has to have the references, so I gave them all to you, so you have every bit of the actual factual evidence-based references to support everything that we're saying on this webinar. And you can use that for your clients, you can use that for anybody you want. Staying with the good, the reasoning. So again, we talked about professional usage. Here's what I want you to remember, that last 4 words there, the new healthy aging. Almost all health professionals now believe that sports nutrition is the new healthy aging. We by proper recovery, the body, these athletes, we're able to help them play longer. And that's kind of where I came up with this saying of playspan, and really what this whole thing's will be about when we get there. But because we view sports nutrition as the new healthy aging, and we can own that category. So here are the polls. 72% of physicians take supplements. Almost 80% recommend them. But now, more than 90% of all physicians in the United States are recommending fish oil. That's greater than 90%. That's a big number. 86% of pharmacists, and the majority of them, obviously, recommend supplements. 95% of nurse practitioners, 96% of dietitians, and almost all of them recommend. And 100% of competitive athletes. And again, not from consumer channels. And by the way, I think most of you know that my son plays in the NFL, so I had a little plug for him. That's his rookie card. He plays for the Rams. Unfortunately, sadly enough, he's been injured for the last 7 games. It's a minor thing, but it was a contact injury after the first game, and he's been out. But he's getting close to coming back. A couple more weeks, maybe 3-4 more weeks, and he'll be back. But my other son, for those of you who know, is a fighter. And every time I say that, I got a kid in the NFL, and my other son's a fighter, I realize I raised a violent family. And somehow that happened. The good news is my daughter, she's actually on the other side. She's an artist, and for some of you may have talked to her. We have her working here right now until she makes some money selling her albums. She just released her first single over in Japan. Sony finally released one for her, so maybe that'll start happening. So at least we have someone on the other side that's not violent. So anyway, the good. All professional athletes use them. It's obviously to help them recover so they can play longer. So it's much easier, obviously, for our customers. So here's the good and the bad. Gym members. 84% spend $50. That's the good, okay? $50 a month of supplements. And we know they're not all spending it with you, which is exactly where that money should be spent. So I'm never asking anybody for more money. Really, it's just a part of what they're doing, and and the bad part of that is they have no clue what they're buying. They're buying on price. Not one of your customers, and I would argue the majority of you, unless you're reading our PDSRG, know what the effective dose of a B6 or B12 in a multi or leucine in a branch chain should be that have shown positive results in clinical trials. No one knows that. No one comes in. They're just looking for the product and looking for the price. They may read a label, but they don't know what they're looking at. So again, that's the bad. And of course, that's why the supplement business gets such a horrible reputation from the scientific community. Because the manufacturers know that too, and you need to know that. The manufacturers know that you don't know what that number should be, what those ingredients should be to be positive and be safe. They know that. So they make it as cheap as possible because they have to compete on price. So here are the most recent problems in the mass market, for all of you know. FDA just finished their report last year. 50% of everything you buy, whether it be bodybuilding.com, GNC, whether it be Target, Walmart, Costco, 50% are mislabeled, which means every other product you buy is not what it says it is. 30% are contaminated with heavy metals because they don't clean the raw materials before they put the product together because it's too expensive to do that. Most are underformulated. And again, if you underformulate it, it's a cheap product and it compete on price, which means they're useless. And all these references now, don't forget, no one's making this stuff up. These are real references, real lawsuits that you're seeing here next to them. One a day, Centrum, fall right into that category. They have some heavy complaints against them that they had to settle in court. All your protein powders are the worst offenders, and that's all happening now. There's class action suits everywhere. So all of you or your family or your clients that have been bought protein powder in the last 2 years, here's what they were buying because it was cheaper than the Whey Smooth that you sell. And whey protein is the #1 selling thing anywhere in the world right now because protein is it when it comes to longevity at this point. So, ready for this? Here's what the claim is on all of these big brands down here. This is everything you could buy just about. 24 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs, great claim. Actual. 25 grams of carbs, 2 grams of protein. Yeah, okay, so that's white rice, and that's what everybody's been buying. So when you're buying a protein powder for $35 and we're selling it for $59, you're getting white rice. With ours, you're getting the full protein because it's third-party tested for all that. And again, that's what a practitioner product does versus the mass market. And this is truly the biggest crime of all, is what's happened with protein. It happened in Europe too, and you should see what Europe's doing to it right now. That's a big one. Here, I give you a couple examples of it. Muscle Milk, Cellucor, Optimum Nutrition's protein, and Muscle Pharma. Here's some classic claims versus actual. And there's the reference. Look at the claims on the right. Is that unbelievable? Look at GNC's powder. 15,000 mgs of branch chain, they had 2,100 in it. I mean, this is laughable and embarrassing and just horrible for the industry, obviously. But it helps you. It gives you all the firepower you need to make sure your clients just don't do it anymore. But now let's look at the ugly. Look down here, look at the arrow. GNC, Target, Walmart, and Costco, all of them had to pull everything off their shelf because there was nothing in it. Massive suit here. And Attorney General just changed everything in New York about how you have to check things now. So again, this was massive here. That's the ugly. How about the uglier? The uglier, we got 100 of the biggest makers of dietary supplements in the United States under criminal indictment now for spiking their supplements with drugs. And again, this is not what we want for our families. It's not what we want for you, and it's not what we certainly don't want for our clients. And that's what they're buying out there with their $50 a month average. Crazy stuff. Just say no. So I just want to make sure you guys got all that there. Now, how do you keep it good? Well, you've all seen this before, so I'll run through it quickly. The practitioner products follow completely different rules. They are 100% audited on 2 parts. So the punchline here, there are 2 pieces to this, not just third-party testing, because you can third-party test a bad product and get a seal that the label is correct. Well, how do you know the label's right? And how do you know the ingredients are right? You won't. There's 2 parts to the whole thing. You need third-party documentation, and you have to test it to make sure it's there. So rule number 1, you have to prove that the dosages and forms are matched in clinical trials for efficacy. In other words, they work. That's number 1. 2, the safety part, which means if you're taking 2 or 3 of these practitioner products, a calcium, an antioxidant, and a multivitamin, they don't cross over to where you're getting too much of another ingredient that's in all three products, which is very common. They have to stay within the safe optimal range. You could never do that shopping in the mass market. It's impossible. Labels don't talk to each other. Only practitioner products do. And now you're taking too much of something, so you're actually doing harm to your body rather than good. Purity and potency, real simple. When people say, yeah, we're an FDA registered facility, we even stopped saying that because all of them are registered with the FDA. You know, you don't want to be part of that sort of marketing piece right there. But no one audits them. Ours are forced to be audited because everything is third-party tested. So NSF comes in there and audits them. They're spot audited constantly to make sure they're testing the raw materials to the finished product. And no one's doing that. That's why you have 30% of the products in the mass market contaminated today. Nutrient delivery. This is one more step that no one takes. In fact, you don't even most practitioner products don't do that. If we can get drugs delivered to the target tissue easily in the right place, and we know we can because it makes a difference immediately after you take it, we can do the same thing with nutrients, but it's expensive. We've done that with everything. Anything we want to get delivered to the right place, the right time, you make sure that you deliver it, just the way we just use drug technology to do that. Truth in labeling, well, that's obvious that, you know, with your practitioner product, you can't exaggerate claims. You've got to prove it based on the fact that the dosage and forms match clinical trials and then third-party test it to make sure it's really in there. And of course, the unique thing for all of you, you have access to a screener. So you can screen all your clients. You can do it either through the program or right there on the site and make sure that they get exactly what they need. So it's all completely personalized to them. So they're the practitioner products that so that's always good. And all these great things that we're saying can happen, and you're going to see it when I get to the PlaySpan piece, can happen now because you're actually getting what you think you're getting. So and by the way, everything I just said is on this video. So you click on there and you'll be able to watch that video, have your client watch that video. In about 3 or 4 minutes, you'll get everything off the slide in a completely different, dialogue. Now, so here's the punchline. Here's your walkaway. You need both documentation that doses and forms are matched in clinical trials. That's one thing. But I don't even trust my manufacturers. Why would I? They're not going to try to do anything on purpose to make it a bad product, but they might do it by accident. Some of these things have like 15, 20 ingredients in them. They might make a mistake somewhere, but because they all know I'm going to take it out and send it to another manufacturer to test it, to third-party test it, whether it be NSF or another manufacturer. And those lists are all in that reference at the far right. You click every one of our products are third-party tested, and that shows you where they are. So they'll do that. And listen, whenever we run out of a product, 99% of the time, guess what? It's because it didn't pass third-party testing. And they didn't do that on purpose because they know they were going to be third-party tested. It just happens. It's not that easy. But when you make supplements right, third-party test them, and that's what your clients and your family are buying, trust me, you have an incredible safe spot to land when you're doing it that way. So you have to have the documentation that the right doses are in, and then third-party test to make sure they are. So that's your take-home message on that first part. All right, Rob. And by the way, this is your documentation that it's the right forms. So look above here on the very top thing. I wrote that down for you. Knowing that this is behind everything, our PDSRG. All you need to do is deliver the product based on typical use or product summary section, which is the very bottom of each one of these different, I call them thesis on each product, okay? And you're bulletproof. Your recommendations will always be bulletproof because of this document. I'm not expecting you to read it, but the summaries are down at the bottom if you need to go there. I'm going to show that later on. But this is all you need. And if you take a look at, this is just fish oil. This is what's the PDSRG. We have 16 pages of everything new in science and all the references to support the use of it. And why, of course, why you would only buy it, from a practitioner rather than in the mass market, because most of them are useless. So I just want you, that's the documentation. And then third-party testing is easy. You just go to the site, you can see where they are, and they're actually, most of the NSFs are actually marked on the labels as well. All right, so let's open it up. The good all the way around. This is what we have in our clubs. You guys are in a perfect position to integrate professional-only products, not found in the mass market, proven safe, and work within the holistic solution. So you're training people, you're exercising them. They just need to fill in the gaps. And you have the perfect solution to do that, and that is the practitioner product. So you're perfectly poised, and you should never go with anything, again, your customers, don't let them go to the mass market. Help them do the same things you would do for your family. And the result for us, and especially in all the clubs that execute properly, real supplementation accelerates goals for results immediately. Because don't forget, our goal is to get people addicted to our facilities and ourselves as trainers. fill the unavoidable gaps in all stages of life, as I like to say, from womb to tomb, so they can grow strong and be able to play longer. And that, of course, equals an extended health and play span versus simply a lifespan. So that's the result when you actually deliver it. I put these 3 bullets in here. That's all you need to know you're doing with supplements. When it comes to weight loss, we're trying to supplement for easier, faster results. That gets them higher motivation, and also to preserve lean body mass during the weight loss, which is impossible to do without supplements, factual. Performance, enhance the training session and the recovery. Because don't forget, your next workout is only as good as you're recovering from the last. And that will increase results and give you a longer playing time. And for health, we've been talking about fill the gaps throughout life to grow strong and play longer. Okay, so bottom line to all this, faster, easier results, get them to stick, and early use helps them live better and longer. And distance ourselves from the mass market production and distribution, because science hates them. People read stuff in the newspapers about them, and it turns people off the supplements. But we distance ourselves with the practitioner product, and we'll leverage the media as necessary, just the way I just did for you in the early part. All right, so Rob, let's go a couple questions. We got about a few minutes here for any questions that you might have right now. And then I'm going to stay, and then one more time, we'll do a couple more, and then after, at the very end, I'll stay on for as long as you want. I have no intention of getting off. I'm fortunate that I'm actually home for the first time. I just got back from Europe, and I'm going to be home for a while, so I can be on here till tomorrow with all of you. So, Rob, any quick questions on this one?
Great. One of the questions that just came through is from Tavoris. Thank you, Tavoris. Neil, the question is, what is the average shelf life for .fit? Obviously, we have a variety of products, but you could take it.
Okay, so every product except bars is 2 years. But it's a good question. It's deeper than that. That means by law, at 2 years, the potency is within 10% of what's on the label. Because all that happens to things that expire, all that happens, they lose potency. Ours are already 10 or 20, 15% above what's on the label. So at the time of expiration, you've got probably 2 years left on any of the pills. Maybe a year and a half, just so you know. That's the way it works. Now, on the powders are also 2 years, and the only thing that happens to powders basically is they end up not tasting as good after 2 years. Bars are 1 year, and I don't even like. If you ever take one of our bars, eat it when it's got 11 months out there, it doesn't taste nearly as good as when it's first made, but it still tastes great. I mean, it still tastes good. So I try to get them within 6 months everywhere. Hope that answers the question.
All right. Neil, here's the next one. This is walking on the edge a little bit, but if clients are taking steroids, should we avoid any supplements?
No, in fact, they need them more. And it'll help them keep themselves. In fact, put them on the liver support. That's what they're going to need. Okay. So, and listen, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was did a lecture at a college the other day, and I got 2 of the kids came up to me and goes, "What steroid should I take?" I go, "Come on, really? You're going to ask me that?" But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, no, they should be taking them for sure. And all it will do is increase their results that much more.
All right. The next one is you showed quite a few protein examples, but generalized the macro example. Was that for all other products or just one specific product?
All products, 50% are mislabeled. That's across the board. Okay, that's all products. 50% are mislabeled, which means the label is not telling the truth. The majority of products, all products across the board, are underformulated. And you can just send that to me anytime you want, and I'll be able to prove to you or all you got to do is go to the PDSRG and look what the ingredients should be based on positive trials. So it's pretty much across the board all the way around, unless it's a practitioner product.
All right. Last one, and again, we're always 100% transparent, is why is the pre-workout, and I believe we're referring to the NO7 Rage, why is that clumpy?
Okay, it's because of the glycerol. Glycerol is what we give endurance athletes like marathon runners. We give it to them before they run to help hold water inside their cells. Because the worst thing for runners is having to drink water while they're running and then the gastric distress that they get from doing that. If you can hold more water in the body, in the muscle cells and everywhere else, and keep you hydrated longer, you don't have to drink as much water. So we're probably the only company that puts it in there, which is why you get a better pump with our product. Now, again, it's a pain in the ass, and I get that totally. We've struggled with it nonstop. I just refuse to take it out. And I always tell people, if it's not clumpy, don't buy it, because it's not going to be that good. If it was just too clumpy, a while ago. Well, we've got it down now. We've got small clumps in it now, and always just shake it up. Shake the bottle up as much as you can, and just break the clumps up a little bit. But you're getting a much better product.